My Mystical Experience Part 1: Maximum and Minimum Space Experiences. What I learned from the quantum world and Buddhist training. Hello, I'm Jomon Man. I've had many mystical experiences, but in the end I thought it would be easier to talk about them in chronological order. If you practice Buddhism in a previous life, you will be reborn with the same state of mind and abilities you gained, no matter how many times you are reborn. Experiences in the quantum world and Buddhist training are sets that can be brought with you during reincarnation as a child. It's been that way since kindergarten. These were events that occurred during the second and third years of elementary school. It occasionally happened in the fourth, fifth, and sixth years. But it was always there and connected to me. Before it arrives, I can feel it coming. It's coming! Tinnitus is a ringing sound, but it can also be described as tinnitus without sound. Only silence and a sense of presence. Tell me of something coming from somewhere far away. The air has changed, and even though there is no smell, I can sense something coming through my sense of smell. It's crazy. My consciousness is starting to focus on it more and more. I try to divert my feelings and blur the feelings so that I can't feel it. But my consciousness never loses the presence of it. I want to get past it, so I try to focus on something else. But it slowly gets closer, trying not to tune before. It's fully in play, but it's coming. It grows stronger by the second, and I tell my mother, it's coming. My mother asks me what's coming, but I have no answer. Still, as a toddler, I explained, when a swarm of bees comes you can hear the sound, but with this you can't hear anything. A swarm of bees can see it, but that thing cannot. I can just see it in my mind. I hear a sound of silence. I know it's coming from afar. Oh no! I can run around the house, and it won't leave me. It's getting closer and closer. And even if I hide under the covers, or in the bathroom, I can't avoid it. I sense it in my heart and am consumed by it. It's here! It's here! It's here! I'm already hooked. A tiny dot appears, gray like a light-colored rubber balloon, as if it had been photographed. It has an irresistible force, and continues to shrink to its limits. It keeps shrinking endlessly, and like a roller coaster, it keeps descending into an ever-shrinking microscopic world. At this point, normal consciousness is already lost, and all I can do is continue to witness and recognize. Eventually, I reach a world so tiny that I'll be exhausted, continue descending through many layers, and digging deeper. At the end of that long journey, silence occurs. I feel a little peace and rest, but then the next thing I know happens is the opposite happen. It expands from the extreme world of nothingness, rises and expands towards the world where I were originally, crosses the boundary line of the limit point, and continues to expand and expand in the next dimension until I return to my original position in my room. But it doesn't end there. The balloon of consciousness continues to expand, enveloping the house I lived in, rising, expanding and expanding. It continues to expand, surpassing the boundary line of the limit, and continues to expand like a roller coaster. I continue to recognize this state, and everything seems smaller than dust, and disappears. When I have expanded to the limit, a moment of tranquil peace appears, giving me a short break and allowing me to feel just a little bit of the fatigue of my long journey. Then, as if exploding, the world shrinks again and again, crossing the boundary line, and descending into the dimension, returning to the room where I was originally. With a moment of relief, the long journey begins again, into an extremely shrunken world. There is not also a rest area where I can return to my room. It continues without rest, from the extreme end of expansion to the infinitesimal end of contraction, and through this endless repetition, the feeling that one is oneself, and the desire for rest disappear, and only the consciousness that continues to experience this continuous contraction, and only the consciousness that continues to experience this continuous contraction. Sometimes it lasts for about 40 or 50 minutes, but sometimes it lasts for 2, 3, or 4 hours. Sometimes it happened due to small things. There was no warning, and as I was sleeping with my head on my arm, I suddenly felt my arm as a giant mountain range, and I was immersed in that world and tripped. When I was playing in the park, the sun shone on the concrete floor, and as soon as my eyes were drawn to the details, it started to happen, and my consciousness permeated the concrete tiles and the earth, and I became one with the world. When my mother asks me, I talk to her, I enter a world as tiny as the needle hole. I explained that I would enter a tiny world, where the tip of the needle looks like a huge mountain range, and then on the other hand, swallow up the house and the city I live in, grow bigger and bigger, and keep growing until it reaches its limit. But then I goes to the edge of the world. That keeps expanding. I repeat these very unbearable experiences, I explained to my mother. 30 years later, I realized that there were other people who had similar experiences. I learned about it when the internet started to become popular, and I started looking at the Twitchino message board. It is also known as Alice syndrome. There was a dedicated thread like that in the past. Some people get that feeling when they see black rubber. Some people wake up when they see tires. There were people who said it was not a gray world, but a black and white world. Or will it just end with adolescence? Among them, there were some whose psychic abilities began to emerge, some whose psychic abilities did not, and some whose psychic abilities began to emerge in parallel from the beginning. In my case, I had psychic abilities. At the same time, this could be said to be the beginning of many subsequent spiritual and mystical experiences. It was a story about the experience of the smallest possible world, the largest possible world, and nothingness. I later learned that the journey to the infinitesimal is explained in the Sutra of the Practice of Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. The Myriajikyu also teaches about space, which is the source of all things. Also, the anime, Akira, which Jomon Man has already explained in my video. It was very similar to the visions I had been experiencing since my childhood. When I was in the 3rd grade, there was a transfer student named Akira who taught me physics, mathematics, painting, and music. His presence was a major turning point in my life. In the anime Akira, there is a vision that Tetsuo experiences, and when I saw that, I thought that this was how heaven prepared a path for me. Akira and the others stabilized and gave direction to Tetsuo, whose power was out of control and beyond his control. Tetsuo created a new universe, and Akira and the others guided it. I took this as a message to me. Experiences of time slip in parallel universes, memories that shouldn't exist, encounters with my future self, precognitive dreams, cytometry, telekinesis, apport, etc. It is the starting point of all magical experiences and mystical abilities. Please tell me about your own mystical or mysterious experiences. You can also tell me about the experiences of people you know. See you next time. Bye bye.